Okay, so for the white hat, it's the same process. This one is not going to be a gloss, so you can just put Plasti Dip on it. If you want it a little bit more matte, you can also just go with a matte spray or a satin spray. This one does not need the gloss, so it's a little bit easier to make. So again, we're going to close the pores just like we did on the black hat and flatten it out. All right, so now we'll go ahead and we will draw in our hat opening, our brim opening. Again, I just use the, again, I have a super small head, so mine looks a little small, but you just want to make sure to measure your head. And you just want to go in and draw in your hat opening. Again, measure. Remember that the top of the hat, again, is shaped like an egg. So the more narrow end of the hat is the front, the wider is the back. And the edge of the opening of the brim to the top of the hat will be shorter than the edge of the opening of the hat to the back. This will be longer. So shorter, longer. So you just want to measure it out. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to cut this opening. All right, so I have the opening done. My razor was a little dull, so it wasn't perfect, but nobody will see that anyway. So just for measurements, from the edge of the opening to the back is 7 inches. From the top of the opening to the front is 6 inches. 6 inches, so about 1 inch shorter. From the sides should be about 6 2/8. Yep. And then another 6 2/8. So 6 2/8 on the side, 6 inches in the front, 7 inches to the back. Again, this will change based upon the opening of your head. My opening is pretty small. I would be considered like a super small head size in a hat. So those will change because you'll be opening the hole. So if you want the bigger brim, but you have a bigger hole opening, you're going to want to go with a bigger circumference on your actual brim. So that'll keep that big brim wingspan going on. All right, so let's go ahead and prep this for paint. All right, so now that I used the heat gun to mold my brim's curl, I go ahead and I lock it in with a piece of tape, because what's going to help hold the shape the best is when I put the multiple coats of Plasti Dip on here. Plasti Dip is like a rubber kind of coating, so to really lock in that curl, but in order to lock in the curl, it needs to be held or stabilized or reinforced. So I use a small piece of tape. Do not use too much tape, because I learned on the black one, if you use too much tape, it does not come off that easily, because this is kind of a mini duct tape, so it's pretty strong, but you want to be able to hold this, so you still need to use a strong tape. Again, I use my Amazon acrylic hat stand. I'm just going to make something so that I can, like I said, utilize the ability to twirl this around as I put the paint. So I'll put 2 pieces of tape right here on the side to shore it up, and then I'll put the bottom on there so that it can be flat while it's drying. So let me put this in there, and then I will come back. Okay, again, so here's my little concoction to be able to control how I paint the hat. So I just put 2 pieces of paint here on the inside, one to reinforce the curl of the brim, and I'll be able to just spray my paint on here evenly and really lock in a couple layers of the rubber coating so that this stays nice and curled on the hat. So I'm gonna go put on, I do use a Plasti Dip primer for the first coat, and then I'm gonna go on with a bunch of white layers of Plasti Dip. So I'll show you what it looks like after I finish painting it. So again, this just allows me to control my paint and keep the hat curled. Once I paint it, I'm able to just lay it so it can dry flat. Again, this is an Amazon hat stand, I believe it is. It's acrylic, so I don't believe it was very expensive. So, all right, so this is what our 2 brims look like that they've been coated, and I'm going to show you. This one is shiny, like a patent leather. Again, this is Plasti Dip with gloss enamel automotive paint, spray paint on top of it, and it's nice and molded. That paint has cured on there, and so that brim curve is nice and secure. Now, why is it so tight? Because you have to remember that when you flatten this hat to put the actual top piece on there, it's going to fan out like that. So you want to have that cowgirl hat lift, and that's why it looks tight without the top piece on there. Here's your white one, and this is just Plasti Dip. Again, you see it has that leather look to it. It even has these kind of creases like leather, because again, once this fans out, you'll see that it's going to crease a little bit, so that you have that cowgirl hat lift. So this is what your 2 pieces are going to look like once you've got them coated with the Plasti Dip and whatever. Again, this one has a gloss enamel paint on it, spray paint on it, and this one doesn't. This is just white Plasti Dip. I'm going to show you how I do the top of the hat. I do not make it with the foam, because you have to piece it so many pieces together to get it even. And honestly, I like crafts, but I'm not that crafty. So I went to Party City, and these hats, because you know Party City is closing right now, were literally about $2-3 a piece. So I just bought a bunch of these. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this hat, and the reason I got this kind, I'm going to show you. It's I don't know how to explain it, but it's not leather, it's not pleather, it's not faux leather. It's like a cheap foam, but it's a nice structured cowboy hat top part. So what I do is I bought it in just whatever colors I could find because we're going to paint over this. And I'm going to cut this out. Again, you don't want to do it right on this line because you want to leave a little room. So I just go around and I cut around this piece because I'm going to attach it to my hat. Now the thing about this is it does, whatever this material is, it does not take to paint very well. You're going to need to put quite a few layers on there to get it good and primed for paint, but it's better than having a lopsided top hat piece. So that's it. So it pretty much will come out like this once you paint it. I do about 2 coats of satin. So for example, if this, I'm going to do white on this one and I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to do 2 coats of white satin paint just to get it white. Then I'm going to prime it. And then for this one, it's not going to be patent leather. So I'm going to then just put my white Plasti Dip on top of it. Again, this is for the patent leather one that I did. Again, it will have texture because this material does not, I guess it has a lot of pores on it, or either the finish that's on it does not allow it to take well, but it's shiny enough to me and I do like the grunge look, textured look. So this worked for me. So again, you're just going to cut that out. Again, it's $2 to $3 right now at Party City. I just bought a bunch of them because I plan on doing a bunch of custom hats for my outfits. And I'm going to go hit this with the white satin paint so you can see how it does when you start painting it. And then once the brim is dry on the patent leather hat, I will show you how to attach it. So the Party City hats have been covered. Again, the top is really hard to cover. I'm not sure if there's a finish on there, but you'll kind of have this rugged look to it. But this is the white with just the Plasti Dip. And then the black piece that I showed you in the last video. So how do we attach it? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our top hat part. We're going to use our Gorilla Clear Grip Glue again. Now, I suggest you do not put this part onto this hat until it is on your head, and I'll tell you why. Because if you try to do this just like this while laying here, if you get this just a little bit off, tilted, like to the left or the right, your hat is going to be crooked. Your hat brim is going to be crooked. So I go ahead and I put on my Gorilla Clear Grip on this part. So you want to get a good notion of where it's going to go. Okay, just like a basic principle of where it's going to be. And this is why I leave some of this edge on here. Now remember, you're going to have a hat piece that goes around here that's going to cover that up. So it's okay to have a little bit here. I'm going to put my Gorilla Grip Clear Grip Glue around here. And then around here, I'm going to put this on my head. And then I'm going to place this down so that they can contact together. Hopefully that makes sense. So you want to make sure too, you look for the front of the hat. And you're going to put your glue on here, your contact glue on here. You're going to put this on your head. And you're going to attach that like that. Again, this is going to fan out, which doesn't make this so curved. It's going to just fall like a cowboy hat once you have it on your head. So again, contact glue here, put this on your head, and then contact them together to make sure that it's straight. So you want to make sure it's in the right place. Once this is together, you're going to put a band around this part, again, so you won't see this. I'll probably cut this down just a little bit more, but you want to have some of this so that the contact glue has something to hold the hat on too. Once I have these contacted, I'm going to go under here and put a little bit of hot glue gun just to secure it. And then I'm going to show you, if you want something comfortable, I'm going to show you how to put a little bit of a lining in this part of the hat. So again, I'm just thinking of stuff as I'm going along here. But when you put this top part on your hat, don't forget when you do the contact glue to use your little spatula thing, because you don't want to just pour this over there like that. You want to be able to spread it along the edges really good. So you want to make sure that you have your spatula. And the same thing with the outside. The most important part is you're going to want to make sure you kind of line it up and get a feel to where you're going to put the contact glue. Because I'm not putting it right on the edge. It's coming out about 1/8 of an inch here is where I'm going to put it around the brim here. All right, so I'm going to show you guys with my contact glue on there. As you can see, I have it around where it's going to go. And I have it on the edge of this. And again, I'm going to make sure I know what my front and my back is. The front is always going to be the smaller, like the less wider part, the more narrow part, and the wider one is in the back. And I'm going to connect those together. Again, you let your contact glue dry for about 2 minutes so that it gets good and tacky before you cement them together. Again, put this on your head. I have messed up by not doing that. So put this on your head to make sure that it's straight and then connect these together. You won't get this on your hair, but if you're afraid to, just put a scarf or something on to protect your hair. But this shouldn't get in there because it's not all the way on the edge. So yeah, so again, you're gonna put your contact glue here, let that sit for about 2 minutes, and then put this on your head and put this down to make sure that they're straight. Again, these curves will flatten out once you put this on there because that's gonna make this inside flatter, which is where you get that cowgirl hat, brim curl like that. So. All right, so I'm gonna let this dry and I'm gonna put them together, and then I will come back and show you how to finish up the inside. All right, so this is the hat with the top part on there. It is nice and secure with the cement contact glue Now for the inside, what I go and do, because you'll notice, because I don't do a clean circle, you're going to have like these little areas that seem like they're not stuck together, right? So you're going to go in with a hot glue gun and just make sure that you seal it all the way around. So again, I just take my hot glue gun and go in here, and you want to do one little section at a time just to make sure the glue can dry and that it's sealed. So I'm going to seal that down like that. And I'm going to do this all the way around, and that just keeps there from being any like openings in the top part of the hat. Again, this is foam. You really don't need to put a lining on the inside to make sure that it doesn't hurt, because like, again, I said it's foam. However, if you do want something a little more comfortable on the inside of the hat, I'll show you how to do that in a second. But again, you're just going to do this all the way around with your hot glue gun. Once that hot glue and that contact cement really lock it down, this will be on there and you don't have to worry about having gaps in there. So again, you just want to do a little section at a time though, because you don't want the glue to dry while you're doing this. So, just take your time and go around the edges. Hold it down, make sure it seals, and let the glue get good and dry before you move on to the next section. So I'm going to do this, and then I'll come back and show you what to do if you want to put a little bit of a lining on the inside. Cement glue is done. Give this a day. It'll be good and ready for any kind of rodeo activity or grabbing on it. Again, you're going to put a band around here, so you're not going to see this these kind of seams right here. And as you can see, the curve is already falling. Like I said, once you put that in there, this doesn't stay like that. It'll start to flatten out, and you'll just get that good cowboy, cowgirl hat curve on it. So again, that's it. It's done. Once I put on this inner piece, I'll show you that if you want to know, but this is foam, so it doesn't hurt to have it on. Then you decorate it. I'll show you mine's fully decorated when I finish, but yeah, that's how I did the oversized hat with foam and Plasti Dip. Again, this is for somebody who likes to do crafty things. It can feel a little bit tedious, so just keep that in mind when you're doing it. Take your time, slow down, make sure everything is correctly placed. Again, the major thing I would say is make sure you cut this hole smaller than bigger, and then you can always keep opening it up, because once this is too big for your head, you can't fix it. And make sure that you put this part on while you have this part on to make sure that it's straight, because if this is crooked, you can't fix it. Other than that, there we go. All right, so for the inside of the hat, you can buy these foam protectors. My head is small, so the interior of the top hat part that I use is bigger than the opening for my hat. So if you have a smaller hole, what you can do is you can buy these, which are just, they help you fit your hat. So they're like little hat bands for the inside of the hat. And I use black on my black hats, white on my white hat, and you can just take these. They have adhesive on there, and you can just stick them on the inside of the hat if you want to, or if you want to make it more comfortable, if the hat opening is too wide, you can just stick them right on the inside like this. I stick mine here. It just makes it a little more comfortable when I put the hat on. So I'll go around this brim and add those, and it just adds a little bit of cushion inside the hat when I put it on. All right, so this is my Riverdance hat. I added the vinyl stickers on the side. At first I had it shaped regular with just the curves coming up, but I really wanted to get like, I don't know, some kind of like different kind of curvature to it. So I ended up using a little heat and bringing this down in the front, which gave it a really nice shape on my head. Again, once you put it on your head, you can play with the shape to decide how you really want it to go. But this one came out really good. Again, it's just the Plasti Dip. So it has that leather look. It's firm. The stickers went on really good because they're vinyl, so they look like they were, printed or painted on. So that's really good. Again, that's why I like to use the vinyl stickers and then just add a little bit of heat. They won't come off. Again, as with all the other hats, you're going to have this raw edge. You're not going to be able to wear this all night. You're going to want to put some kind of cushion or some kind of band in there. But other than that, it came out really good. It's really big and it matches my outfit. So I love it. So get creative and have fun.